All right.
I can. We can do some interview of something. Sure.
Cool.
All right.
Well, okay, so you're being interviewed?
Oh, I don't know.
Will you be here? Unless...
We'll just do a practice one or whatever. Yeah. We'll just do it.
Yeah.
Kip, you were here first. Come on,
Yeah.
Kip.
Or Kip.
Kip.
You can interview me, or I can interview you, or whatever. Or no. No pressure. I'll sit whichever seat.
do one after I've had a chance to listen to one.
Yeah.
Great, perfect. Yeah.
I don't mind talking to people.
Good. So natural.
Well, it's part of my job.
You have to kind of speak.
Talking to people. I don't mind it.
What age group do you teach?
High schoolers, so 9 through 12. I had seniors last year, so those guys, sometimes they're good, sometimes they're like, they think they know too much or whatever. They're like, I already know everything, don't tell me. Sort of stuff. And I already know, Kip.
Cool.
Which I assume is spelled K-I-P-P?
No, just one piece.
Oh, bad guess.
You're not a spelling teacher.
What do you teach?
No, well, actually,
Math,
Math.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there are two spellings. Yeah.
algebra, and up through calculus and stuff. All right,
Feel free
Kip.
to use any of this stuff.
Cool.
So we are rolling.
What did you teach?
Math.
Okay.
High school math. Anything from algebra up through calculus. Which I like math because it's all just about patterns, and
I know emotion in that.
tried to take it out. Sometimes I was arguing with my brother this morning about, he was like, do you think we'll ever, we'll be able to prove things that we can't prove now using AI or something? And I was like, I don't know. Maybe. It's hard to just predict the future. And then, and it wasn't heated, but it just like back and forth. And I was like, because like there are things that we've proven that we cannot prove. Like we know there are things that are true that we can't use math currently to prove. And he's like, could we prove them maybe in the future using AI? And I'm like, I don't know, but we've shown that we can't prove it, so no. But I don't know. So it's a fun thought experiment.
Yeah.
And then it's like I don't understand all of it or anything, but it's fun to think about. And then he was like, and Gödel's incompleteness stuff, and Gödel said, and it's pretty solid that we can say things that we can never prove, and we can say things that are true or things that are unprovable, and I don't know. Anyhow, but I think that's a solid system. I don't think we can get outside of that.
Yeah, math is kind of airtight that way.
Yeah, and it's like logic, and it's built on logic and axioms, and I don't know, and at this point, I don't see how but I'm not sure. Anyhow, so that was my little bit of conversation with my brother this morning, which I'm still processing, thinking about.
My brother's a big math guy because he's like an engineer.
Oh, nice, cool. Yeah, those engineers have more of a physical reality bend to them, and using those equations and stuff, which is cool. Just a little bit different kind of thinking. What was I gonna say? Yeah, I don't know if you have what did you say before I started on my random tangent?
Oh,
Oh no, you said something about
Yeah.
math or something with teaching.
sorry.
No worries.
Okay, so I know what I brought up. I actually worked as a tutor at a high school for about a year. I actually
Nice.
really enjoyed it, and it really kind of bummed me out. I didn't go down that path a little more,
Oh yeah.
I
Well, it is hard to teach yourself math.
yeah,
The textbooks are boring to read,
yeah.
I think.
Or even just teaching is whatever, whatever field.
Oh yeah.
Maybe I work in graphic design. Would it be, design or maybe some other type of, but I don't know. I just kind of, that opportunity just kind of fell away from me. It probably might have been a mistake, but yeah, I'm kind of interested. Yeah, so there's probably something I could ask you about what you do. I'm interested in. And by the way, this is my first time doing this. So,
Oh yeah, no
yeah.
worries. No,
I,
no, it's and you were saying you were regretting, you think it might have been a mistake of a
Mhm.
path choice. And I kind of like, as something that helps me deal with that concept, I don't know if this is whatever, but it's like, I don't know, could you have done any differently in that situation? If you took yourself back in that spot, would you have done something differently?
I
Like,
think
I personally don't think I could have ever chosen differently in my past, but
for me, it might have been kind of a lack of understanding of what I knew at that time. I'm still
Sure.
kind of in my mid-20s, and I didn't. I think a lot of the important things I teach probably maybe were I learned, 5 or 10 years after that.
right, which would have informed your decision and like makes you regret
Exactly.
now not knowing.
And yeah,
Right.
and I
But
kind of wish I would have heard some of those things, from some adult that, you know, yeah, I guess, yeah. Yeah.
okay. So I don't know. And does that like make you want to change like trajectories now on what you're doing currently or something?
It's a good question.
Which isn't a nasty thing, but
So around 2017 and 18, I went back to college. So I kind of got back into the, school, thinking in that terms again.
Mhm.
So,
Nice.
that may shed some light onto what I'm interested in or how I may want to. I really liked working with students again and talking to them and,
Nice.
besides the learning, also the social aspect of being around people, of course, because it was, not as many people working in a job in like selling products
Okay.
as in my design work. So that definitely,
So what kind of design work were you doing?
we would just sell like, I would do a lot of like product photography and sell mailers and stuff like that. And it was good. And I actually learned a lot from that too. But,
Okay. Product design work.
yeah,
And
I guess I kind of wish maybe I would have somehow balanced, like did education and, try to kind of toggle between those two.
well, I know a lot of schools need like tutors and stuff, or like there's a shortage of teachers nationwide. Honestly, they could probably, if you want to do summer school or something, maybe. I don't know. Well,
Yeah. Well,
anyhow.
I worked at a summer music school, my kind of middle school. I actually enjoyed that. It was, it wasn't like hard work kind of school. It was just kind of a very laid back, and you get to hang out with your friends. And I enjoyed that. So
Nice. So I'm trying to think of a topic we could boil it down to, maybe. Did you think maybe that education, like you said, you were pursuing a degree after you were already doing a job?
yeah. So it was kind of like it's more the school at School of Visual Concepts is more just kind of down the road a bit. Is a they make like basically certificates. They don't really have degrees, but there's a lot of good learning that I am bringing into my current work right now. So yeah, I guess I could have. Of course, everybody's doing all this remote stuff, education
Sure.
during the pandemic. I didn't get into that, and I think, well, I guess partly I'm just kind of bad at what's that program called? The webcam, not
A
Slack.
bunch of them.
Uh,
Zoom?
Yeah.
Okay.
I couldn't figure it out.
Oh,
So I don't know. Maybe
Well.
that's a bad reason, but
no, well. And then there's like it's sort of crappy, and it like there's like a paid for version of it.
yeah.
Anyhow.
And did you probably used Zoom and with all the students, or?
A little bit, not really. I mean, when we were like, we only stopped school in Florida for like 3 months in whatever year it was. And I just basically would like link videos that other people had already made about topics and said, hey, try to do these assignments. And it wasn't very well designed, or, sort of like slapped it together. And then we came back to school the next following year. And so I didn't have to ever create like a whole, like, online, like MIT OpenCourseware sort of thing or anything like that. But Something was like, so I was on the track for a topic. You were saying, so maybe do you think that there are like maybe there's like something with online learning is different from in person? I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of the learning was doing like in forums, talking with other like web developers as I'm doing like website design, and that's basically been my education. But it's just kind of sitting at home at the computer, and it's all right for a little bit, But
Cool. Well,
yeah, I think those are good questions.
Yeah.
Especially for starting.
Yeah. Well, no. I mean, well, I was like trying to get a topic out of you, I guess, or something. But it's cool. We can just talk about whatever, I suppose, too. That's fun. Maybe life advice or something I can gather or whatever. And yeah, or yeah, you want to pick a word and try to define it or something. That's always. I like watching other people do it, and I'm like trying to do it in my head sometimes too, and I'm like, these are impossible.
It's a great way to. I call it my quantum claim generator.
Yes.
Like if somebody has a hard time
Coming up with
what to
talk.
explore,
Right.
some of those words can really draw that out.
Trigger
Yeah.
a thing. Yeah. Well, what word do we get?
And like to make a claim, like say a conclusion that's meaningful to you.
Right. Or
something
yeah.
that you have a high confidence in. Explore that.
Right. All right. What did you get, Kip?
Okay, so I got holistic, and
Holistic.
I guess that's like a type of like dietary. I should actually know. I kind of forgot what that is, but
I think it can be.
yeah. I guess I'm not too much of an expert on that. So
Dietary.
I don't know. Maybe that's not a good word for me.
Definitely.
Okay.
Pick another one.
Yeah. Does it mean it can? Or it's like tagged onto words of. That's it's sort of a weird word. Because it's like the whole. Anyhow. And then it's
That
adjective.
word came up in my last interview.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
They had like a holistic view of health or something.
Was that the one word, or was it like?
He didn't pick the word, but that word came up a lot in the talk.
Nice.
I was interested in how much his claim was painting helped me understand what's important about life.
Okay.
And I wanted to know how much of the painting contributed to that, like in a pie chart.
Right.
And he was really not wanting to discuss the pieces of things, but he had a holistic view of life, I guess, and that we shouldn't be piecing it apart. So that was kind of interesting.
Yeah. That
But
is
anyway,
interesting.
Is
That's
that
your talk. But
so? Holistic just means kind of the whole.
yeah.
How things are related. Is that
Maybe.
okay?
Could be. It's one interpretation for sure, I think. Yeah. Holistic. Yeah, there's parts and you put the whole together. Holistic.
Medicine, like holistic medicine.
Yeah, like taking the data and taking their anecdotal talk and taking what other people say,
Yeah.
put it together.
Or somebody comes in with a stomach ache,
Whoops.
and some doctors just focus on the stomach ache.
Right.
And what people would call holistic doctors would say,
All the other factors.
what's your diet like?
Right.
What's your stress level? Like
Right.
Approaching it from a holistic view.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So now we have a sort of understanding what that word is, ish.
Thanks for picking that word, Kip.
Yeah.
That's a new word.
Yeah, what's the new
Okay.
little darker blue one? This light blue one.
The new one is defeat. So
Defeat.
Defeat? Seems easy. Maybe? I don't know. What do you think?
just any thoughts I have on
Yeah, what do you think of when you hear the word defeat?
Yeah. What do you think that represents, Miles?
uh, um, hmm. I guess overcoming someone else, or being overcome by someone else.
Okay. Overcoming someone else.
Yeah. Sure.
Okay.
I guess does it have to be a person? I guess, or
Yeah.
just any some type of natural,
A match.
like a. I mean, like a. What? I guess does defeat have to do with being defeated by another person, or could it be some other kind of defeat? Or yeah.
No, I think. I mean, I don't know if you want help.
Yeah.
But like, I think, like you were saying, you can defeat diseases.
Mhm.
Like
Oh,
that's not something you're. But overcoming something,
Mhm.
like I think you can overcome people. Ish, maybe.
Okay.
Defeating.
When was the last time you felt defeated?
Oh.
Thanks.
This morning.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That was me. That was my answer.
Yeah.
Not subjective.
Overcoming something. You.
No, I mean, I guess nothing's coming to mind right away.
Yeah. Did you feel overcome by something?
Oh, yeah. Hmm. I had medical issues at some point, I guess. I mean, but I guess it didn't. Oh, yeah. Well, maybe here's an idea. I mean, I've had, what was it, like some, like really bad hip problem where I just like could barely get out of bed, and I thought that felt really defeated by,
Your health
barely
situation.
move, you know.
Okay.
In fact, one reason I've been going down to California with my parents is that I guess he sort of helps with things like arthritis. I have a small amount of arthritis.
Oh wow.
So,
Already? Seem
It's-
young.
yeah, it's crazy. But it's just a small amount.
So that's something. He helped with arthritis.
Mhm.
Like, how confident are you that that's true? What
Oh.
what's your confidence in that? Like, maybe that's something that you know,
Okay. Oh yeah.
Well,
How do you know you have arthritis?
my doctor.
The
Yeah.
doctor confirmed.
Yeah.
So, yeah. How confident are you that that doctor is like accurately giving you information?
There might have been more than one. Sometimes
Oh.
yeah. So okay. So I know that I had to go to two different, at least two different physical therapy people, and so I think there would have been that confirmation with more than one person. You know, because like they always say, get a second opinion, and there you go.
So you had two independent doctors.
Hmm. Yeah, at least two.
Oh, okay.
It's been a while since that. But,
Sure. So if you saw a new doctor and this third, fourth, maybe your fifth doctor, and he was like, no way, all these other doctors were wrong, would that, how much would that lower your confidence, let's
well,
say?
I guess the other thing I'd want to know is,
And this doctor's holistic.
well, I want to know definitely where that pain is coming from, and well, the other reason for the pain is that apparently there's a bone on my hip, the kind of a point that's kind of rubbing. So there is other reasons for that.
Okay.
It's a very strange thing because it'll be just hell, and then it will just go away for a very long time.
Mm,
It's just like, why? It just seems weird that it would vanish
mm,
for a long
yeah.
time. It doesn't,
Interesting.
yeah. I'm not
Well,
a doctor.
and yeah, I was going to say something about is like, let's say, every time you're feeling pain is when you're seeing the doctors.
Oh, well, I would go to the doctor if I was very severe pain, didn't know what I was doing or how to solve it. Yeah.
Right, right. Okay, seems reasonable.
Yeah.
Trying to think of, is there a way you could, raise your confidence that you are definitely arthritis?
Research it more, I guess, would be one of the things. I guess because I don't think I don't know if I've really done much research. Independent, but I don't know how good it is to do. How much do you trust independent research in a field that you're not at all an expert in and have?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
guess. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I would trust most doctors, especially if you've got a bunch of them saying the same thing. Well, cool. I don't know. Arthritis and doctors? Can I think of something else?
Yeah.
Raise and lower your confidence? I don't know.
Yeah. I had a family member who kind of made a major career choice not to go to college because of a doctor's opinion. And sometimes I wonder, like, wow, that's a really serious decision, to me at least, for how
sure.
they, because I think education's a big deal. And I'd want to get a second, third doctor's opinion for that decision. Yeah. So
Right.
I was just thinking about that last year or so. Like,
Yeah, how many doctors would it take to like make you make a career decision change?
yeah.
Right? One or I mean, yeah, what is your threshold?
Yeah.
If you had to if the doctor's
Oh.
like arthritis is gonna make you not be able to work,
Uh,
and how many doctors would it take to be like you have to change jobs?
yeah, that's a good question. Well, for me, the career is something I really want, and I mean, it's a lot of purpose to my life for this thing I've chosen and been working on. So, I guess it would be quite a few doctors. Yeah.
15.
Oh yeah.
I need numbers. No. Well, great. Cool. I don't know if I have any other questions about it. Arthritis. Seems like you have a pretty good standard. I don't know if you have any questions for me. Or like, I mean, if you, I don't know. Yeah, online research, I think, and learning about arthritis. Do you know what kind of arthritis you have? I think there's
No.
different kinds. Okay, no.
Yeah.
Because like, I think rheumatoid is one, and there's others. I've heard of that one.
Okay.
I'm not a doctor.
Yeah. I probably should know that.
I
Probably
think that's
should know what
mostly
kind
old people.
of- Oh yeah.
And I don't know if carpal tunnel is like a form of arthritis or not,
Mhm.
or something else.
Yeah, I've got carpal tunnel, but it's so that happened mainly. I'm at the computer in front of the mouse a lot.
Yeah.
In fact, I got one of those Wacom Draw tablets just because this to save my wrist. Yeah.
Cool.
So yeah, that's why I did that.
It's nice.
Yeah.
Well, that was fun. I don't know what else I have for you, but yeah, we got a topic for a little bit.
Yeah.
We got a little bit of SE. That was cool.
I think it worked.
I don't know. Do you have any random arthritis questions for me? Or defeat? Arthritis is not defeating you. Do you think?
Well,
Or you're
the
overcoming
very
it?
short. I mean, it would have very short, just completely laying me out.
Oh, really?
not-
Arthritis was,
Well, there's multiple issues, but
Okay. but that was part of it.
yeah, and like for a while, it definitely took me out of some sports. I was actually doing a water polo over in Bainbridge, and I really liked
Whoa.
that, but it just, I mean,
Your shoulders couldn't deal
when
with
my,
it.
well, not the shoulder, but my hip, and when that problem happened, it was over, because you use your hips, you're always rotating your hips and snapping them together, and it's just, with hip problems, it's gone, it's over. Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
One suggestion,
Shoot.
question-wise, I actually have two. One would be, why is the doctor's opinion a good reason to believe that you have arthritis? Or why is seeking multiple opinions a wise approach?
Good question.
Um,
Those are good questions.
well, I guess I would wonder what the alternative to, like, what other option would there be? Well, I mean, are you saying people outside of doctors that don't understand the field? Or was that what you mean?
You said that was the reason why you believe you have it, right? 'Cause of the
Multiple,
doctors?
multiple doctors.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why is that a good reason?
It might not. I mean, there might be something in some book or something. I guess. I mean, I don't. I guess just because I've been, probably at the time I was very busy at work. I didn't have all this research to look into that, and so I didn't do that. And I don't. And there could be something. I guess a doctor doesn't know. I mean, of course, doctors don't know everything about the human body, and it's possible. Yeah, I guess, but that could be an option. In fact, one of my doctors, he kind of missed one of the physical therapy people actually did something that kind of made it worse for my hip for a while, like quite a bit. So I actually had to go to a different specialist. So she was I guess she was a ballet dancer, and she had she hurt her own hip. So she also has firsthand experience. She's not just, talking about other people. She's dealt with it her own self. So I definitely trust her. I mean, she deals with it. And she made me a lot better than the other woman.
Okay. So maybe you're trusting the doctors because that you followed their advice and you felt better?
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe afterwards, or like use the medications they prescribed, or I don't know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, with PT, there's a lot of exercises. You can.
And you had other friends that do the same thing.
Do
Follow
do phys-
doctors' advice with similar
Oh
problems.
yeah, sure, yeah. I mean, that's what I hear people say is that they, get a second opinion, or, so that's what I did.
Sure, yeah.
Yeah. Also, the other thing I detailed, we have a doctor that lives across the street from it. My parents had some doctors that live around them, so that may be a third or fourth opinion at that point, because they just kind of lucked out to have people of that profession. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Can you think of any questions you want to ask?
I actually don't have any questions for you, but when it's done, I have a question for Mike.
Okay. Cool. Can't wait.
All right. Yeah, I think we.
Yeah, we can. We can say, great. Thanks for talking.
Okay.
And giving us your thing about arthritis. Why you have it? Yeah. Probably. What percent do you think? 0 to 100. What's the likelihood you have arthritis? Started at the end with that question.
Yeah. So I guess they have ways. I think they also have some type of I don't know if we call it a way to like X-ray. I think I took X-rays, so there's imagery of that. I guess probably. I think I think I remember seeing those pictures a while ago.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean that's got to be. I mean,
doctors' photographs.
it's got to be. I mean, I don't know if it's 100%, but it's got to be 98 or something. I think.
Reasonable. I believe you. All right. Well,
So
shoot.
switch.
So I was curious while you were doing that, because I was thinking along, trying to think of what question I might ask.
Yeah.
And I was finding it a little tricky to think of a question.
Yeah.
And one thing I noticed going on with me, and I'm wondering if you reflect on this particular topic, if this might, if this resounds with you or not at all. And I was thinking that if I had a little bit of a mental block with this topic because I would be concerned when I'm talking to someone who's talking about a medical issue
Mm.
about what might happen if I instill doubt in a diagnosis, especially if two doctors have said you have arthritis.
Right, right.
And I'm
Yeah,
thinking, like, how am I
yeah.
going to get this person to doubt that? And it's like, well, maybe they shouldn't. And then I give
Right.
up on thinking about that.
Yeah.
And the two reasons I would have is like, one, I mean, I already think two doctors is a good reason, so I could bail, which then means I'd need to like double check on my own. Is that a good enough reason? But the second one is like, even if that's wrong, there's another thing with a medical issue, which is like worrying about a medical issue, like having doubts and constantly thinking it over and over
Yeah.
again is sort of
I hear where you're
a
coming
difficult
from.
position to be in. So
Yeah, yeah.
from my own perspective, I'm like, ooh,
Yeah, it's like
how am I going to do this without, do I want to do this? That's going on in my head a lot more than
yeah.
what question would instill doubt.
It didn't really. Yeah, I hear what you're saying about the ethical,
Yeah.
nature of, and I wasn't. Yeah, no, that's it's interesting. I didn't even think about it during. I was more of just like focused on trying to get a topic and.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, and I do think that if someone was like all of a sudden like, oh, maybe I don't have cancer, I would be like, oh, well, no, listen to your doctors, please, suddenly, yeah, that's a good point. Yeah.
Well, I mean, I like that idea, but I mean, is there a way to? I mean, it's good to think about that. Like, well, because I started, considering all these other things. Like, well, I could add. Well, I didn't see it so much as like, well, I'm going to throw out my doctor. I saw it more as like, okay, here's these things I could stack on top of that. I don't know. Maybe somebody else would say, well, throw out the doctor, and I hope they don't. But because I don't. It's hard to see somebody else. There's very little likelihood that somebody in a different field is going to be like, I have a way better one than multiple doctors. So I probably won't ever just tuck it in their advice.
And I don't know how, and you've seen in SE interviews, and most people, if they lower their confidence, it's just like a little bit. I would be a little worried if somebody was like, I have this thing, and then all of a sudden now they don't because they talked to me. I would worry a little bit about their, I don't know, just how do they arrive at conclusions if they're that easily swayed. But yeah, it is an interesting idea. I think I didn't even in the moment think about it. Yeah, but I don't know.
There was this idea that was floating around in one of the other, I think it might have been Pierce's video where they were talking about, can SE cause someone to move away from truth? And
Possibly.
is that bad? And I think the explanation was, if you shift either way for good reasons, at least you're aware of the reasons.
Right.
And any shift that you make based on hearing better information or better reasons, that's a good thing. And so, curious, kind of what you were talking about, like, how resilient on average do you think people are when they are kind of invited to explore something that's really deep to them, meaningful to them, something that helps them get through life? On average, how resilient do you think people are with that kind of thing?
Could you?
So, well, go ahead.
Can you say that again? How resilient people are with dealing with things that are
Important.
important?
When they're invited to explore the reasoning behind it,
Mhm.
if they come to realize that the reasons that they're using to support a belief that gets them through the day, how resilient do you think people are to that on average?
that was, I had a conversation with Pierce about the ethics, and that's what, there's some people that really need some beliefs to get them through the day. And so I think that truth is the most important. But I also think that, like, I think that mental health is important. And I think that we can have the best mental health if we know the truth. However, not everybody, I guess. It's so hard. It's so hard to understand. Like, the truth can set you free, but also if you don't know, if you're not a resilient person and you don't know how to cope with life, and you found these things that make you feel secure, and then somebody says, is that a good reason? And you think about it and you're like, oh God, maybe that's not a good reason. I don't know how resilient people are with that. So
Yeah.
that's what my worry is with ethics.
Yeah, when you say the word resilient is like, I guess it depends on person to person a little bit. How much, and I guess you measure that as you talk to them a bit, and then you make a personal decision on whether you trust that they're going to be okay with examining this thing too far or not. And if you think you've gone too far, then, be like, cut it off. Be like, sorry, I don't want to upset you, or make you, explore something that's going to make you unable to function. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe you could just ask the IL at some point, like, how much do you think, how resilient you are when you are experiencing doubts, and if they're like, doubts really cripple me, that can help you gauge, if you're comfortable with the topic picked.
Yeah, just asking them straight up, like, how resilient do you think you are with this stuff? Yeah. How much? Yeah.
Well, how would you react if you found out tomorrow that this wasn't true?
Yeah, how would you handle it tomorrow if you found out you didn't have good reasons to have arthritis right now?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, I had a question for you, Kip. Like Mike, I'm also just dumbfounded that someone as young as you has arthritis. So I'm curious, when the doctor gave you that diagnosis, what convinced you that it's rare for somebody as young as you, right, to have arthritis? What was it that convinced you to accept a diagnosis of generally older people?
Yeah. So there's actually at least two things going on. So so like I said before, that there's something with my bone. It was something I was born that way. It was my whole life. And what happened is the space between there's that stuff that goes whatever they call this. What's cartilage?
Yeah. Tendons and ligaments.
As I
and
said,
all
I'm
kinds
not
of
a
stuff.
doctor. Yeah. So the cartilage, I guess, wears down. So that's the bones are starting to go together. So that's so the arthritis. So maybe there is no arthritis. Maybe it's all that. That could be possible. Yeah. That it could be just all my cartilage is wearing out, and
Well, isn't that what
that's
arthritis is? I thought that's what I don't know. I don't
More
know.
research.
I mean, did you have an X-ray? Did the doctor show you the picture? Because you're describing something that it sounds like you got to see that. So is that what was convincing for you?
Yeah, because I remember getting all those pictures taken,
And it sounds like you weren't too worried about being diagnosed with something for an older person because you had a condition with your bones that you had since you were born. So it wouldn't be unusual for you to have an unusual bone thing.
Yeah. And then, there's also a few other things, before we were talking about, with David, that I go snowboarding, and if you've been snowboarding, when you're constantly taking your bindings off and on all the time. So you gotta kind of do this thing, and my hips were not doing that thing anymore for a while, or maybe I could get halfway there, and I just couldn't reach my bindings, and but
You knew something was wrong.
yeah, and I don't think that's the cause of the bone. I don't know.
It sounds like you have arthritis, dude. I don't know what to tell you.
So the reasons that you're using, those are those are strong enough reasons you feel to be 98% confident in it?
I'm so okay. I mean, but besides not having any medical education, I mean, I'm not particularly good at science. I don't know how. I know so little about that topic that it's so hard for me to give anything on my own knowledge. So I guess I have to stick with 98 or
Is
something.
the lack of knowledge part of what's supporting your high confidence?
Yeah, maybe that is. That might be true. And, I mean, even if, maybe I could go study it and, sometimes you try something later on in life, you actually get to be kind of better than you were when you first tried it. So, it's possible I could go learn something and then, that might work. I could actually have a more informed decision than ignorance. Basically just sheer ignorance.
Ignorance supports high confidence. Is that what you're saying?
So that's probably a true statement.
Yeah.
I don't know. Must be God. God did it.
I'm trying to think of something similar. Something like that.
So if you learn more about it, that could lower your confidence, finding more stuff out.
But it could lower my confidence that arthritis is the cause of it.
Some of your opinion.
Yes. Yeah.
How confident should we be about stuff we don't know about?
Not very confident. Yeah, that's true.
I'm not challenging your claim at all. Stick to your doctors.
Yeah. Well, and you have family history. You have your doctors supporting you. Yeah. You have evidence that you did this thing the doctor said and you got better. Sounds like good reasons.
You got pictures.
Yeah.
Pictures, physical evidence.
I just thought of this. I have an older brother, and I don't think. Well, if he has arthritis, I don't think he's talked about it. So I wonder, is that what do you call it when a person's related and they have similar medical conditions?
Genetic? Is
Yeah.
it genetic?
So does it seem like it would be genetic? I would expect to see it in him too.
Especially with bones growing together.
Yeah.
That sounds like something that families would share.
I'm not sure if arthritis is hereditary. I don't know.
Yeah.
If you found out your brother did have arthritis,
I was hiding it from you.
would that move you up or down?
Well, 98 is pretty high, so.
Yeah. Are you still at 98?
I guess, because what else? I'd have to put a lot of studying, and there's limited time, so.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Have you ever had a doctor give you an explanation for your pain that wasn't arthritis?
I can't remember. This was actually a while ago. I mean, believe it or not, it was about 10 years ago. So maybe there is actually, now that I think about it, maybe there is doubt that somebody that could be that young that was experiencing issues. I know that I was working at a desk for really just ridiculously, insanely long hours, and that was not helping things. That was not a healthy decision, and that I think that contributed a lot to my physical issues.
Sitting at
So
a desk?
it could be something that I caused. I caused a lot of the injury. Perhaps it's not just a natural, arthritis. Maybe. No idea. But it's not. This isn't something I deal with all the time. It's not a. So. It's not like, oh, I got it. It's probably been months since I had the problem, so any arthritis type problem. So it's not really, I mean, if it was a major problem every day, I guess I'd have to do something. I'd have to put everything on hold and figure something out. But it's not what it's like right now. I try to stay healthy. I try to be active and do things that help. Yeah.
Did you notice any actual benefits to the heat in California?
That's what other people told me. Maybe there's nothing to that.
Well,
Maybe
that's what I'm
it's-
asking. Have you
yeah.
noticed any?
Oh yeah, I don't.
Said you've been going to California with your parents.
Yeah.
I was just curious if
Uh,
that did any good for you.
well, okay. So the problem I had was during the winter. And, I guess it was probably, I'm going to say January, February, somewhere around there. Really cold weather around here, of course. And you get down there, it's 90. So how much of it was the heat? It could be that my parents are out doing errands and chores and stuff, so it kind of frees me up to be a little bit more. Maybe I'll go to the gym, maybe I'll go on walks more. I'm sure there's other contributions besides hotter weather. Yeah, I'm sure.
Cool. Thanks.
Cool. That was fun. Yeah.